Hi, guys! We are back to talk about Sarah J. Maas's Kingdom of Ash, the very final book in the Throne of Glass series, which I know I am feeling very, very emotional about because after this episode, we've only got 2 more sections and then we're somehow done with this very long and wonderful series. But yeah, this section we read chapters 49 to 72. I feel like a lot happened, and then not a lot happened. Like, I know I took copious notes.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah, like there were a lot of really great character moments, but I feel like it kind of boils down to just like our 3 groups of people and what they're all doing, which is all very, very high stakes and very scary.
Mhm.
But yeah, I I don't know if you guys have any initial thoughts about this section or the book as a whole that you like need to get off of your chest.
N No, I don't think so.
Elena, you
Okay.
look like you're really thinking about it.
I mean, I'm just debating if it's too early to jump into Adian being a big dumb
It's
idiot.
too early. It's too early. We're gonna get to that. So yeah, I guess I should say that if this is somehow your first episode that you're joining us for, don't turn this off. go go start somewhere else because this is the last book of a series. Or I guess like if you've read all of them before and you just thought this would be fun, at least go check out our first episode on this book and then come join us for the whole Kingdom of Ash journey. But yeah, we are going to spoil everything from chapter 1 to 72 and then all the previous books. So if you're not up for that, don't stick around. But yeah, I wrote down that we should talk about Gabriel first, only because I realized in our last episode we were like, oh right, Gabriel exists. Maybe we should talk about him. And I was like, you know what? You know what? This guy is so solid and I love him. And I think we should just like chat about him first. Like, how are you guys feeling about Gabriel?
He's gonna die. Like, I don't want to get too connected to him.
So we still think
Yeah.
he's gonna die?
Probably. He had a really good, sweet moment with Kale and in the last section that we read. That like it kind of felt like if Adian didn't forgive him, at least Kale did.
Yeah. I appreciate that now Kaol and Rowan have both like in their minds been like, I will punch Adian if he is mean to his dad. I'm just like, I love that Gabriel like has these younger guys just like deciding that they are now his friend slash like adopting them as their own father. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Kale's come such a long way.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking that. Like, my goodness, like book 1 and 2 Kaol to like now, like, oh my goodness.
Now
And
he's
I
gonna
think
be Maddie.
Now he's gonna be a dad.
there was a reference about how it's been like just under a year, just over a year from book 1 and 2 Kale. Like it's almost Yulmus again when like he gave her the Aelin the or Selena the ring the first time. I was like, that's crazy. That like
Isn't
Yeah.
it?
So
well,
little time has passed. I also read that note and like did a double take. I was like, oh my goodness. The
Yeah.
amount
yeah.
of growth that these people have undergone and the amount of things that have happened in that time. Mind blowing.
Yeah. Which actually made me realize I think I need to backtrack on a very strong stance that I had last episode,
You have the
which is
floor.
that I thought I'm pretty sure I said very strongly that I thought Kale and Irene were gonna Lupin and Tonks it. But seeing the fact that there's still 7 months left in her pregnancy and apparently that would be 4 books worth of content, I it seems like the war is gonna be over by the time she gives birth.
It does seem like there's not enough book left to do that kind of jump. I'm still imagining like a jump at the end, like maybe in some sort of epilogue or something to show us like how everyone is doing at X period in time. But I
Mhm.
agree, Elena. I don't think that we're gonna like the battle is still gonna be going on, and Irene has also already given birth and just hands off baby.
Yeah, and I don't think in the epilogue she will have been given birth and had a baby, and then just they magically die, and
Oh
I'm like,
no. No. Yeah. I vote they don't die, personally. Also, I vote Gabriel does die still because I think his scenes are too heartfelt and he's gonna get axed.
There's too many feelings, too many emotions.
oh
Too
my
many.
god. Know what's gonna be sad about Gabriel dying though, outside of like just him dying? It's gonna be another point where Aliens like realizes he messed up a little bit too late. He's gonna be like, damn, I had a good father and I was mean to him, and then he sacrificed himself for me.
Yeah. And I mean, like unless we have anything else to say about Gabriel other than like just his like really sweet moments, one of which I should mention, the one where Rowan sort of like mentally sticks up for him is when Gabriel kind of like asks why he hasn't been offered the blood oath, and Rowan
Mhm.
says that it's because Aelin wants to offer it to Adian first, and Gabriel's just like, cool, cool, just wanted to say, would say yes. Like he's so pure, and that's why I think he can't possibly make it out of this book. But I do think we are now segueing well into Adian, because I think that the other possible end to this is that maybe Adian sacrifices himself because, yeah, he's not doing so hot still. And I will argue for how he has grown, but I would love for the two of you to go first.
He's being a big pile of poo right now.
Yes, very smelly.
Like it's a little bit too little, too late. Like, oh no, the girl I really like isn't talking to me after I called her terrible things. That's my bad. Like, no, he should have realized that before he said the terrible things, right after he said the terrible things, not
Not when
on
she.
her deathbed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not like as she was about to get ilkened to death. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. I am proud of her though for like sticking to her guns and
Mhm.
not like accepting his apology at least right away. I don't know if she ever will. Maybe, but I'm just I'm glad she's like let him grovel. He needs to grovel.
Yeah, and I appreciate too that it wasn't like she didn't say out loud like I'm going to need more from you or I'm going to need you to work harder. She was just like, no, like this isn't happening, and it was very definitive. And I was very proud of her for that moment, especially because of what was revealed right before that moment, which is
Remind
that literally like one of the first sentences in Lysandra's point of view as Adian is coming to her to like check on her and apologize is that we got a new scent profile.
Oh, the scent. Of course you would catch that.
So I'm just saying that clearly, even if we don't want to talk about the big M word, I think that Lysandra clearly has feelings for Adian. Like, I think
Who didn't want to talk about the M word?
who doesn't want to talk about the M word? I'm just saying that even mates or no, that clearly Lysandra has some feelings for him still in this moment, which I think is like extra to her credit that she does clearly have feelings for him, but still is like, no, I'm worth more than this. And if that is how you're going to treat me, I deserve better. Like,
Mhm.
girl, more power to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would argue that during this section, he and they have made a lot of progress toward potentially making it work. I think there's like a glimmer there. I don't know if you guys feel that way, if you're just like, burn it down, let it burn.
I just don't know how he redeems himself from this. It's going to be a tough road. And also because I feel like he still has the two conflicting parts where, like, in order to redeem himself, I think he would have to, like, put Lysandra first no matter what above all things. Versus there's still the idea that he's going to take the blood oath, which kind of conflicts with the idea of him giving himself over to Lysandra and putting her as his number one priority.
Do we think there's a possibility that he has to choose between who to save, either Lysandra or Gabriel?
I think it's possible.
But he's just going to choose Lysandra. Like, is that's not a real choice?
I don't know though, because we know that like Adian's hatred of his father is like pretty pretend, honestly. Like I think it's pretty obvious that like Adian loves Gabriel and like wants to have that relationship. It's just he's being a stubborn dick, like he
It's
is in
exactly what
all other
Daniel
times.
said. Like he, even for himself, like he wants to forgive his father. So
Mhm.
I'm sure Adian is the same way, but Adian is also very stubborn.
For sure, for sure. I just don't think he would choose to save anyone over Lysandra with the exception of possibly Aelin. And I don't see an ultimatum where we have to either choose Lysandra or Aelin coming anytime soon.
Yeah. No, maybe not.
So it would probably be Gabriel like sacrificing himself for Adian rather than Adian having to choose.
Yeah.
Hades having a bad year.
He's having a really bad year. And I will just say that I think there's a lot of textual evidence about him like owning his responsibilities, which I'm really happy to see. No, there is. There is. Like he's so when he goes to the front line at that battle where he thinks that everyone is going to die, he has that like whole thought that, like this is my fault. Like if I had
Mhm.
just gone along with what Darrow said, none of us would be here. None of these people would have died. And like he puts himself right in that front line saying that like if we all need to die, like I'm going to go down first and be the one that maybe holds them off long enough for some people to live.
I don't think that's him taking responsibility where he should take responsibility for, though. Like, if he had done what Darrow wanted, they would be in the same crap position, just under siege in Orinth even sooner.
Yeah, but like
You're
all those
very
people would still
forgiving,
be
bro.
alive. No, I mean like I still stand by if Lysandra never forgives him, I will not like be upset at the end of this because I do think that that is legitimately the right answer here. It's just that I also think that Sarah is trying to show us that like Adian has made mistakes and like is realizing that and taking action for it. Like he doesn't fight back when Darrow strips him of his title. Like, he tries to get Callius to like is it Callius? The his
Killian?
Oh, Killian.
Killian. Yeah, I was like, I think Callius is another character. Um, he tries to get him to actually be the leader of the Bane. No,
You're giving him so much credit. He's wanting to be the leader of the Bane because he doesn't want the responsibility anymore, not because.
no.
Yes, he doesn't want the choices on him anymore. I don't think that's a pro for him. I think that's him like falling apart.
I don't think they ever say that. I don't
This.
think there's ever a part where Adian's like, "Oh, thank goodness, I don't have this responsibility anymore."
They're
He's like,
definitely
"No, I don't deserve it." He's like, "No, it got taken away from me. Like it's you. This is your thing now." You sh-
I'm just gonna circle back to what Alina said earlier. It's a little too late.
I when it comes down to it, I agree. I just am curious to see what Sarah does with this, and I think she's showing us that there is room for Adian to grow and be someone that could potentially be worthy of Lysandra.
Can I tell you my ideal arc for Adian?
Mm-hmm.
Lysander starts seriously dating someone else for 3 books. He has to sit there and watch
Who
and
will
be
he
jealous.
through it?
3 full books. 10 years passes. He's still sad and alone. Has been thinking this entire time about how much he messed up. My guy messes up, dies. Who knows? He's out of the picture somehow. Adian spends a whole nother book reuniting with Lysandra, and we just don't have enough room for that arc left.
I'm not going to encourage you to flip to the end to see if there's an epilogue because I know that you'll read the whole thing before you can stop yourself. But I do wonder if we're gonna get something that's further in the future that may at least show us a glimmer of like we've gotten to a point where we're at least like starting over. I don't know.
I do like Alina's theory. I feel like a lot of time needs to pass before she ever forgives him.
I agree. Or like
I
a
don't,
lot needs to happen,
he doesn't
and I
deserve
don't know what that is.
Yeah, I just don't think we have enough time for it to have been enough, like far enough away to not still be painful.
No.
Mhm.
I think that that is probably right, and that's why I wonder if one of the reasons that Sarah is giving us these glimmers into, like, Adian's not awful, and, like, clearly Lysandra still has feelings for him, like, to show us that you can be mates or can be, like, fated to be together and still decide not to be, like, to make that decision that it's not right, which I know we've talked about before, like, potentially mates not ending up together. And I think this is the first real possibility that I've seen of two people that we think should really be together, potentially not working out. I don't know. I think it's cool. Y'all know they're not my favorite side couple, so I won't lose too much sleep over if they don't work out or not. But yeah, I mean, I think while we're talking about Aideen and Lysandra, a lot was happening in their neck of the woods with the army getting pushed back multiple times, and having that last stand where Aideen thinks that they're all going to die. And then they are mystically saved by Rolf and the Mycenians just coming down the river. They pick them all up, after poor Ansel's like backup army gets their heads all catapulted toward the rest of the surviving army, which was depressing. But yeah, what do you guys think of like that whole battle and everything that's going on there? Like, were you nervous? Do you have any theories about where like Orinth and that whole neck of the woods is going?
I'm still like confused about the time frame and like geographically. Like I think in the last section, all of a sudden Aelin was in Anna. Oh,
She's an
what?
Aniel.
Yeah, and it just like that felt so like that it happened so quickly. So with that in mind, like I didn't know how he was going to be saved, and I guess I just forgot about Rolf and his army. But did you guys catch that little scene with Ansel and Elias?
Yes.
Yes, yes, I
Just like
did.
one line.
Yep. Yeah, I think it said that, like, because Ansel's obviously super distraught over having all of her friends' heads get shot at her. So, yeah, I think it was like Adian was thinking maybe I should go over and say something, or Lysandra, I forget whose point of view it was in. But then they were like, oh, it's okay. Ilias went over to like check on her. And I'm like, oh, wow, that has some layers.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, I vote for that relationship happening.
I mean, I still would prefer Ansel and Astrid because I think that would be adorable. They could be queens of the waste.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a cute close second.
Yeah. Especially just with their history, like, her almost killing him.
And her dad, or his dad.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Um,
I liked it.
yeah, I was surprised Rolf showed up. I thought he was gonna like you. I figured something had to happen. There was no way they just all died. That would be super anticlimactic. Not to have a reunion at all. But I didn't see it being Rolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got like a little nervous in like a this isn't happening right now, is it? Way, but I also had the same thought where I was like, okay, clearly Aelin is not about to just like burst on the scene and save everybody. So what like how is this going to end? And I
Mhm.
didn't have any ideas before Rolf showed up.
Yeah, because we still need a Lysandra Vulcan reunion. That needs
Yeah.
to happen.
Well, and I mean like it seems like that's where Aelin and her whole crew are now headed is in the Terrasen direction. I mean, it seems like everyone's headed in the Terrasen direction, honestly. So,
Except for Dorian.
except for I don't, I don't know if we can talk about Dorian yet. I think we gotta save him for last. Maybe only because that's sort of what happened last in the section. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it seems like everybody in Aniel is now headed in that direction. But a lot happened in Aniel in the last section. The whole last battle of Aniel was just like I don't know. I think that
My
was some of the
favorite
best stuff
side
I've ever read.
couple.
Your favorite side couple. Take the floor, Elena. Give us a play-by-play of your emotions.
Oh my god. Freaking stupid Lorcan going out being like, I don't have anything to live for. I'm just gonna do this. And then a lead going after him after she told him that she didn't care if he died. Because of course she cares if he died. And like when they're like going back on the horse, like racing the water, you're like, are they gonna make it in? Like no way they die in that moment, but having Aelin save them was like it was a scene. I'm also glad the dam did come into play, but not how everyone thought it was going to.
No one thought the
No.
Morath army would take it.
Literally, I mean, like, I think we talked about it in the last episode or the one before this, where we were like, okay, so they thought about using the dam, but they're not going to use the dam, but they talked about the dam. And like, since that moment, I've been like, is Morath going to use the dam? Because I really hope not. And like, hopefully they're not stupid enough to not realize that that's a thing. And then all of a sudden, Sartok and Nezrin are like, guys, they're going to blow the dam. And I'm like, I know! Like, how did you not know? It was intense.
It was intense. I thought it was really interesting, like, Aelin was saving her power to kill Maeve, but ended up using it to save everyone from the dam.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
I think...
no, what is she going to do now? I still want her to kill Maeve.
Right. Well, there are other theories about that now, too, but... yeah, I mean, I think, like, as far as all of that goes, I think we had all kind of realized that, like, Aelin was, like, not saving her power, but, like, keeping it contained for something. But I had no idea that she had been, like, going into her power for 3 months. Like, that was definitely a shock to me. But I was not worried about Alita and Lorcan at all. Because, I mean, there was, like, that one line where it's, like, Rowan, I think, looks over at Aelin, and she's just, like, all upset about the dam. And I was like, she's not just upset about the dam. She's coming up with a plan. I don't know what it is, but she's gonna stop this.
I love how Aelin it was that, like, Rowan's like, what's going on? Like, looks towards the lead and Lorcan, looks back, Aelin is gone.
It's like, what is my wife doing this time? That poor man, I just have to say, like, the way that he just takes it in stride all the time, even this time, he was like, yeah, so, like, you almost killed us, but, like, I guess good job.
For a 400-year-old general who's supposedly really smart, she seems to run circles around him quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
The only woman he could have ever loved. For real. Sorry, dead, not mate, woman. My apologies. Yeah, I think it was great. I loved that scene with her, and just like her deciding to use the power then, which, I mean, it wasn't for entirely like selfless reasons, right? Like, she saw her whole army basically about to die before her, so she wanted to preserve everybody to be able to do that. But still, like, letting go of that one shot she had at knowing she could take out Maeve to save everybody, I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does she need 3 months of saved up power to kill Maeve? I would hope she doesn't need 3 full months.
I don't know. I liked that they basically said that she can't do it again. That, like, it was only, like, that power was entirely born of, like, the awful situation she was in. But I don't know. I mean, especially with everything that's happened in this section, I wonder if it won't be her that kills Maeve. Or if maybe Maeve won't die. Like, I think that's I know. I don't want to say it, Elena. But I think it's a possibility.
Weird. I wonder where Maeve will end up if she doesn't die.
I don't want to think about the other options.
Like, can we just extrapolate for a quick sec? If, like, I know what your theory is for her not dying, which means she's still alive in some universe, which means she has to come back in some
Yes. I just think that there a lot keeps being said about how Maeve is better than Erewhon and how there like are obviously many places outside of the world that we're in Throne of Glass that the Valg know of and that Maeve has come from and could potentially go back to. So I just wonder if she won't actually perish in this book.
Yeah, I remember like Kale making a comment about no, not Kale, I'm sorry, Dorian. How she differs from like Erewhon.
Mhm.
It's not what I want.
Right.
Feels like there's a bigger plot line possibly happening with the idea of female Valg and the implications of them putting princesses in, like being able to put princesses in people and the power Maeve has as opposed to the kings. It just feels like there's an underlying something happening where they're making deals to bring the princesses over for some kind of purpose and constant reminders of how powerful Maeve is. And it's like, bruh, we have two 2/5 of a book left. Where is this plot line going?
Right. Yeah, I didn't love the whole let's implant the big spiders with Valk princesses. That sounds bad. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that we also have the option that Rowan and Aelin talk about once they realize that Irene can actually heal the Valg out of people. You know, they bring up the whole idea of can Irene potentially heal Erewhon and or Maeve to basically, exercise the valve that's inside of whatever human host they might be a part of. And I don't know. I don't know how do you guys feel about that?
I I don't know.
Paulina's like, I can't talk. I have read other things that I'm not supposed to.
One sentence. Why is it the one sentence I always see
You
has
gotta stop.
implications?
I will say that I personally think it's too easy. And like we talked about earlier, I really, really don't think that Irene and Kale are going to die in this book. I just don't see it happening. I could see like awfully something bad happening to Irene and they potentially lose the baby, which would be devastating. But I don't see the two of them dying because, as we know, if one of them dies, both of them die. And I just don't see that happening. And Rowan and Aelin made it fairly obvious that they feel like if Irene were to try to heal one or both of these super powerful Valgs, that she probably wouldn't survive the process. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
And I don't think Aelin would let her take that fall for her either.
Right.
Um, why can't there be a simple solution like Kale's dad somehow had to give up his life for Maeve to die? Like, where's that loophole?
Oh, bummer. Because the end of that book would not make me cry for days. And Sarah knows it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a really good theory at this point for how they get out of this. Like, I don't want to lose Irene and Kale. I don't think that Dorian or Aelin are going to sacrifice themselves to create this lock. And I'm just wondering if there's like a plan X that we haven't thought of yet.
I still think she's definitely going to give her up her immortality and or magic. They've made her too powerful for her to come out of this book. Like, especially with all the huge fire thing that just happened and everyone being like, she's a god. Like, there's no way she retains that kind of power through the end.
I think that's a really good theory. I'm still wondering if like she and Dorian can each give up like half of their power to reforge a lock potentially together. But
I don't know, man. Dorian seems to be checked out.
Dorian is literally having sleepovers with Maeve. Like, I've never been so bothered by any plot point. Like,
What is
ever.
happening here?
Never. Yeah.
Never would have I guessed that this would happen.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
We might not be at the point where we can talk about our thoughts on this, but there are thoughts.
I don't know. I feel like I didn't say enough about Elite and Lorcan. Like, I just think that their scene together was so freaking cute. Just like Elite bossing him around, telling him to like get on the goddamn horse. And like when Lorcan's trying to do the whole like, just let me die so you can live. And she literally just like sticks her fingernails into his arm so he can't let go. It's just like, this is what Lorcan needed. He needed a woman that would give no shits. Just like, yes.
And
I'm
that's
so
like
proud.
their entire relationship, like
Oh.
since the beginning.
So good. It was so good.
Love them.
I don't know. I they're not my favorite, but I do love them. And I just the whole time I was reading, I was like, Elena's gonna be so happy.
So happy. We love when a big dumb idiot thinks he's the smartest and gets bossed around by the tiny lady who can barely walk sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and then he fixed her leg at the end.
Fixed
It's
it.
like, I missed that, but really she missed him.
So like their end game, right? We're good. Like they're okay. Neither of them are gonna die, right? They're both
They're
gonna
gonna
live
be
happily
in-
ever after.
We're gonna be in Perance. That
Yeah.
place where she's from.
Yeah.
I would be very sad if they died. I don't think so.
They're just so cute. I also really enjoyed that they were both like, I would really like to make out now. And Lorcan was like, no, you go do the things that you need to do. And she was like, are you sure? And he was like, kinda. You guys are adorable. Yeah, I like them a lot.
I also talking about scenes in Anielle that we liked when they raided Carol's dad's
So good. So good.
vault, and we're like, "This is mine. This is mine." And then he got mad, and Kale was like, "Get over it." And then he also didn't want to give up his land, and Kale was like, "Get over it."
Kale has come so far again, like just not letting his dad walk all over him, not giving into the whole like, I have a chest full of your mother's letters that I stole and never gave to you. Will you let me keep all my land and my pretty toys if I give them to you? And he's like, no, Dad.
He's like, "Oh, remember how I might have mentioned your mom left? It was because I did this really scummy thing that hurt you and her. Oops."
Yeah, it's like she didn't leave so much as like she left me. I'm like, yeah, man, we all knew.
My guy, my guy have a redemption arc?
Honestly, I foresee just not even seeing him again. Like, does not even come up.
Yeah.
But he would like do possibly the same thing Gabriel will maybe do, as in like sacrifice himself for Kale.
I don't even see him doing that. Like, I don't think he's got that in him.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Oh, he's awful.
Yeah. Because he's just going to stay in Anielle, and no one needs to go back there anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Were there, I mean, there's so many people that are in Anielle right now. I don't even know if there's anything else that we need to talk about with them.
We got
everyone check out the gaps, the Farian gap, right? And
yeah,
there was nothing there.
Yeah, so I did some rethinking because I had a few days, this is new for me to have like even hours, if not days, between when I finish the book and when we talk about it. So this was a whole new world for me. But I think that the Farian Gap was where Petra was with all of the wyverns, right?
Yeah, there was definitely witches and wyverns there. Yeah.
Because I went back, and when Manon goes to see Petra to try to like gain her allegiance to join the Crochans, it says the Farian Gap. So I think this is the same place that Petra and the wyverns were at. So when they're all like Nehemiah and Sartok and everybody are like looking at not Nehemiah, Nezrin. Rest in peace, Nehemiah. I'm so sorry. when Nezrin and Sartok are like, all the wyverns are gone, like everyone has disappeared, what's happened? I was also thinking, what happened, but I mean, current theory for me is at least that like Petra and all the wyverns have gone to join Manon and the Crowchans. But I don't know for sure.
That's a pretty good theory. It seems legit.
Yeah.
Solid.
It's either that or they're gonna move against them and are heading in that direction and then are gonna switch sides at some point. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think it brings us to talk about what happened with Manon and the matrons and like Manon's whole part of this section.
I thought that was so good when she fought the matrons.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, like, and like her 3-on-1 battle to me is like just as cool as Aelin using all of that power to steam an entire like dam's worth of water. It just like it was so amazing. But I think like the biggest outcome of that battle that they talk about is like, you know, I think we were all bummed when she didn't kill Grandma Blackbeak. But they were talking about how her letting her escape might have been even better because she couldn't become a martyr.
Right.
Instead, she had to like sneak off and be embarrassed.
Yeah, no, I actually really liked that scene that she had with Dorian afterwards, where they kind of like talked through the events, and like she wanted his thoughts about should I had killed her or should I have, you know, done this, and it just shows how political it all is. And he's so experienced with that. Like he grew up in that environment. So it's just so nice to see like they can share and have that moment together. And then another moment.
how do you feel about that end part, that end scene for your favorite side couple, Brooke?
I don't feel good at all, Elena. Oh my goodness. Oh, so many thoughts and feelings.
She made progress. Like she opened up, she told him in a way like what she wanted for him to stay.
Yeah.
Even though I think she knew that he wasn't, but they did have that last moment together. But I don't think it's or maybe I refuse to accept that this is their last moment together.
Yeah. I had some initial really awful feelings like when Dorian made his deal with Maeve that I've gotten over. And I agree with you, Jamie. Like I don't think that like I still think Dorian and Manon are going to end up together at the end of this. Um, but I think that it was really important that like they both made huge sacrifices in that moment. Like I think that Manon knows that she loves Dorian, but I think that they're going to need to figure out what works for them so that she doesn't feel trapped. Because when she was like, I will marry you and make this alliance, like, you know, she kind of betrayed herself and like let on that she felt like it would be a trap and that she was sacrificing that for him and for them, which just shows how much she loves him because she knew that that would keep him with her and keep him safe. And then he makes the huge sacrifice and even says, like, I wanted to say yes. Like, and he instead, like, lets her be free and goes to Morath and then offers to marry Maeve.
Okay, before that, it was just really sad because they're, yeah, like you said, like they're both sacrificing to be together or, you know, sacrificing the idea of being together because there are things that are bigger than themselves. Like Manon has the entire Crochan and all the witches to think of. And then Doran with the word keys and trying to save the entire world. It's just bad timing.
Right.
I have some beef with Dorian. Can someone please tell me why he couldn't give the word keys to Manon instead of burying them under a rock where only he knows where they are? So if this does go sideways and he can one be tortured for their location versus if Manon had them, he'd be like, you have to get through the big army. And two, if he just dies without telling anyone, they're lost.
I had similar questions.
He
I'm
was
just going to hide them under this dirt.
he was like, I'm real smart. I knew I couldn't bring them here, so I put them under a rock. No, yeah, he buried them. Unmarked burial.
Yeah. And he was like, I definitely remember where I put them. I was like, do you? Are you sure? I don't know. Yeah, I had some similar questions. I just like was like, okay, I understand that Dorian believes that he is the one that has to have all of them so that he can like make the ultimate sacrifice, use them all, create the lock, and then save all of humanity. So I get why he wouldn't try to do something else with them. And also, if he had left them with Manon, then she would have known that he was going. So there's that too.
Just leave them under her pillow as you're crawling out of the tent. Like, leave a little note saying, keep these safe while I go do spy things that I'm bad at.
Like, world's weirdest tooth fairy. Here are some word keys. Yeah. I'm worried for him, but I'm gonna be hopeful.
Like, just hide them in Manon's bag.
A mouse.
Such a cute mouse.
Such a dumb mouse.
He's a dumb mouse.
Actually, he wasn't a dumb mouse. He did pretty good as a mouse. He did bad as Vernon.
Yeah. When he was like, let me ask all these weird questions. Dorian, yes, we know you still have daddy issues. Like, say it louder. Yeah. I do have to say, though, that I was, like, I think that the two of them are solid because they continue to make decisions that, like, are right and not just to be with each other, even though that's obviously what they want. Like, when Manon has the choice to either make the Crochan army go to Morath or to answer the call for aid to Terrasen, and like she chooses Terrasen, like she knows that Dorian is doing what's best for the greater good, and she has to too. And I think that that will bring them back together. I hope.
Okay, but everyone's going to Terrasen, and how is Dorian gonna get there? Like, pro form?
Aww. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, he's got this really weird, gross, scary, creepy plot armor now. And like Maeve is, I think, going to protect him. And I know that he has a plan, right? Like, I know that he has a plan because he says that. He's like, I'm only good at being a courtier. Like, I know how to like flip this situation in a way that will make everything work out. So I know he doesn't actually plan to marry Maeve. It's just I don't know what his plan is, so it makes me scared.
The new side of Dorian.
Oh man. Yeah. Do you guys have any idea? Like, do you know what he's thinking?
For most of this book, I've just been like along for the ride.
Yes.
Yeah. Outside of him just piecing as soon as he gets the word key and hoping she doesn't find him, I don't know what else he could be doing.
Yeah. I foresee like a really gross, almost blood oath moment between the two of them, because like that's the only way that I can see her like forcing him to be her subject, like really and truly, which I'm not enthused
I
about.
don't know like what that third word key is. He needs to find it.
Yeah, it'd be a fun twist if Erewhon didn't have it.
That's what I'm wondering. When he was like looking around and was like, I don't sense it anywhere. But it feels like everyone does have it just because of how powerful he is. Like, unless that's all just him.
Right, like unless that's just his Valg King power. No idea. It makes me feel gross and icky and like I need to take 4 showers. But I trust Dorian. Also, just think about where he was in book 1. Like, I was thinking about that earlier. Just like, oh my goodness. Book 1 Dorian versus final book Dorian. Big growth.
They've all come a long way.
They have. Yeah.
But I trust that he's gonna make it in the end.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The big three, the OGs, they're gonna make it, all three of them.
I think so too.
Somehow.
I don't know. It's hard because at this point, I think pretty much everyone's going to make it except Gabrielle, which just doesn't seem realistic.
Right. So I mean that kind of brings us to like, do we foresee anybody else not making it out of this? Like, is Gabrielle
Make
really the only one?
Falcon. I
Some
don't
of the
know.
13, yeah, Falcon.
Who else did you say, Jamie?
The 13.
Oh, the 13.
Because we
That's
Mm.
don't
true.
really know anything about them other than Astrid.
Mhm.
And maybe some side scenes with one of them and Dorian. But like we don't really know. Oh, in the shadows. But like I don't know what there's more than that.
Yeah, I don't love that the thought just occurred to me that at some point they might decide to like turn the big evil witch suicide tower like on Morath, and that would require one of them to sacrifice themselves in order to do so. I don't love that just occurred to me.
That's really sad.
I
If
don't
that
like it
would
at
have
all.
happened, that feels like an Astrid thing.
I had the same thought, Elena. I was like, you know who'd sign up for that real fast?
Manon, and then Astrid would like.
This guys, this would be like the third time, right?
No. Well, okay, so I've had that thought, right? Because I know, like, Brooke before this book was 100% like, oh my goodness, there's no way Fenris makes it out of this. And I have found myself, like, lulled into a false sense of security where I'm like, I now love him. Like, I am ride or die for Fenris. Also, he almost died once already, so he can't die, right? Right? Wrong?
Plus, he has like a moment where like an arrow is going towards Aelin, and he uses his shadow, like his teleporting power, and in the last moment to join his brother.
I don't want it.
Like it's along the lines of your idea with the witch tower, where it just seems like, oh, this seems like that's how that could be turned.
It's a poetic death, but
The
not sure
stakes
that
are
we want that.
no, 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 no. I mean, like, there is a part of me that now is like kicking past Brooke, being like, why did you have to say that, like, for a book with stakes this high to be good, that people have to die? You don't want that anymore. Like, just staring down the reality of like the last 50-ish chapters of this book. I'm like, oh no.
There's plenty of people that could die. Like if Darrow dies, if Maeve dies, if Grandma Blackbean dies.
Grandma Blackbean.
Did I just list the antagonist? Maybe.
Can only the bad guys die? Maybe.
We also haven't heard much from the gods recently, so I feel like that's probably coming in this next section.
Yeah. I had thought of that. I think it was Rowan that was saying that like he doesn't really love the gods anymore. And I was like, that's right. When are we gonna hear from them again?
Yeah, because I feel like they set up a lot in like sections 1 and or 2 about like a whole historical god conflict between the truth gods and the
Right.
newer gods who are maybe also valid somehow.
Yeah.
And then we just had like 25 chapters where that wasn't relevant at all.
I had the same thought, Elena, where it's like they have been very silent since, was it Deanna like took over Aelin and tried to kill an entire town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think there are a lot of really good questions about like why do we need to play their game and create this lock? Like why can't they just take the Valg away from here and just like do us a solid?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any theories? Thoughts about how our friends get out of this? Elena can't talk because she's actually already read the rest of the book and just won't tell us.
I wouldn't be surprised. I
No,
don't
I
really think
didn't.
anything.
I don't know. I don't know. I still think
Okay.
she's gonna have to give up her immortality. Just seems unlikely that everyone gets immortality at the end of this book, like Dorian from Anon.
Yeah, I think it would be too easy if they all did too. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't hope that they all do.
Well, Lorcan, is immortal and the lead isn't. Maybe they'll just be happy together the way they are.
Like, immortality also isn't immortality because they've made it clear that eventually Fae like get too old and just don't live anymore. Which definitely doesn't connect to lifespans that are clearly outlined in other places.
Yeah, what did they say that Aelin was supposed to get like 1,000 years?
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's just like really, really long mortality.
Hmm.
I don't know. Other characters that I am personally worried about include Nezrin and Sartok because I'm not happy about how little we have heard of them in the last section, and I don't love that. But
We got one throwaway line about them showing a tent. Was not a fan. Need more.
Yeah, that's
we
it. We
we
need more.
got the one cute scene where Borte and Yaren were like clearly making eyes at each other and then like running off to go do the deed, which they had definitely done multiple times before. And then like got that really cute moment with Sartok and Nezrin being like, if you want to also run away, you need to help me like clean the rooks. And he was like, I will do anything. And that was really cute. And then we haven't heard much about them since, and I don't like that.
Honestly, we're getting more from like Hussar becoming friends with Aelin than we are.
I don't even like Hussar.
I did like how Aelin immediately upon meeting her was like, I like her. And I was like, you would.
You would.
Yeah. It's hard. I realize that there are a lot of characters, so it's not possible to have like really great moments for all of them all the time. But I kind of realized when I was looking back that Nezrin and Sartok did not do a whole lot in this last section, other than like discover that the dam was getting broken down and then warn everybody.
Well, and they're the ones that figured out the gap was empty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've like been around, but we
Yeah,
just don't
that was
get them a
Nessie
lot.
and Borte.
Yeah.
But yeah, still not enough.
I love Borte and Yaren.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'll definitely take more of them.
Wait, can I look to see how long the epilogue is?
No,
The
you
page.
shouldn't even look to confirm that there's an epilogue. You can't handle the truth.
You're gonna see something and regret it.
Elena,
You
don't
always
do
do.
it. Stop it. No, stop making false, shocked faces.
It's a 3-page epilogue.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know your secrets.
3 pages. That's all we got. What the heck is supposed to be in that?
Oh man. Well, now that I'm nauseous and sad, I'm gonna. I think, is that it? Did we talk about everything?
I think so.
Will Aiden still be a big dumb idiot in part 4? Tune
Yes.
back in.
Yeah. Because you brought up Adian again, I need to say one more thing. And that I think that last scene with Adian and Lysandra was very cute. In like a sad, depressing way. But like when they had that moment in the throne room where I feel like they just like
Yeah.
met with each other as people. And Lysandra admitted that she's losing hope and was sad that she recognizes that there's a likelihood that Aelin will never sit on the throne of Terrasen. And Adian's also bummed and is like, yeah, I never thought that this is how this would end. And they just like have that moment together. It has nothing about like, I love you, I want to be with you, I think you're hot. It was just like, yeah, we've both fought for this. We've both fought for her. We both love her. And just their like sadness at not being able to bring that future to reality, I thought was nice.
It
Yeah.
was nice. But it also brings up the fact that like this is the whole reason why Lysandra is doing this. Is for
Right.
Leland. And he takes it out on her.
Yep.
And now it's making me mad again.
But yeah, what are we reading to for the next section?
We're reading through 96, and I would recommend not like pulling it open to see where that leads to, because the last sentence is problematic, in my opinion.
Don't read the last sentence of chapter 96, everybody. Just open up to the next page of chapter 73 and continue from there. Don't skip ahead. I have a lot of emotions going forward, and I just love this book so much. And this whole series has been great, and I can't wait to keep reading it.
Me too. But sad that it's coming to an end.
It is. It is. But yeah, we can keep it alive. Come chat with us about it. Thanks for reading it with us. And yeah, we can just keep discussing it like it never ended. Thanks, guys. Catch you next week.